Shalom. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha-Rakah, Kwadash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And also I want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing this truth in the streets of Babylon with sincerity. All right. So, want to go in on this lesson. What inspired this lesson was the word offend, all right? Because one thing you have to understand about this truth is you're going to offend a lot of people, all right? Because you have to remember the world is not parallel to Yahweh. The world is contrary to the truth, contrary to Yahweh. So therefore, when you speak this truth, when you speak these words in this Bible, you're going to offend many. All right. So let's go in on the lesson. All right. The first verse I want to pull out is in Psalm 73 and verse 15. And this is the King David. And this is what it says. If I say I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of thy sons. And that word children means sons in the Hebrew. So it's dealing with you're going to offend not only all the children, but the word children means sons. So this is King David saying, hey, if he speaks the truth, he's going to offend against the generation of thy children. All right. So that's the first verse. I'm going to precept, stay in Psalms, and I'm going to go to Psalms 119 and 165. And it says, great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. All right. So when we embrace these teachings, these commandments, these laws, these statutes, first thing you have to do is study the Bible to understand what's wicked and what's righteous, to understand the law, statutes, and commandments. So it begins to give you peace because now you have the knowledge of the truth, You're going to have sorrow, but also peace, because at the end of the day, we do get the W, we do get the win. But let me read that again. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. All right. So really, you should, because you have the knowledge of the truth, and you're not built up on foolish pride, because people who are prideful, they're the ones who get the most offended, But if you have knowledge of this truth, then it's hard to, disrupt or, it's hard to move something that has a strong foundation. All right. The men of this truth have a strong foundation, and we're not easily offended. Yeah, we're vexed in this wicked society because we see all the wickedness. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we know the strength and the power that this truth gives us and will eventually give us, So let me go to another precept. Habakkuk. This is 1:11. It says, then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his Yahweh, or that actually would mean power. So when we get into this truth and we start to, understand these parables, understand this truth, let's read it again. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his power. You see what I'm saying? So now that we have a different mindset, when we were in darkness, or we were in Christianity or Catholicism or whatever, false religion you want to bring up, we had, our mind has been changed, because Christianity taught you to love everybody. But then, as you grow in this truth, you realize, hey, it's not a sin to hate your enemies, And really starting out with the Edomites, the so-called white man, It's not a sin to hate the white man. Matter of fact, you shouldn't have love for the white man who is your enemy and your oppressor. But that's the 2/3 mentality. They love the white man, and why do they love? Because they don't want this. They don't want his kingdom to end. When I first came in this truth, I would hear the brothers say, "Man, I can't wait till this kingdom is done with." And I just stayed humble and kept listening, and kept learning and kept studying. And then as I learned and grew in the spirit, then I see where they were coming from. Now I'm like, you know what? I can't wait for this place to end neither, because I grew in the spirit. My mind changed, like that verse says in verse 11. All right, let's go to, excuse me. Let's go to Matthew. We're going to go to 5:29. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if the right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. All right, so so this is a parable, all right? Because the men of the church, the men of the truth, the prophets, we're the body, right? We all represent functioning part of the body, So that's what this is talking about. It says, hey, if one of your men in the truth is going off, and he's not, on one accord with all the brothers, you're better off to cast that brother off, man. Because he's gonna hold the camp back. He's gonna hold it's gonna be a burden for the camp. So that's what this is dealing with, these different members of the body, all right, which we are the body, the men of the truth. So that's an offense if you have a brother who's in the camp or in the truth, and he's not doing what he should be doing. Well, it should be an offense to the camp, because we should all be on one accord. So that's what that parable means. Let's stay in Matthew. We're going to go to 18 and verse 6. It says, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. All right, so the little ones is a parable for the men of this truth also, okay? Because we're little in this truth, right? We're, the men of the truth have, we're coming into remembrance. We're repenting of our foolishness in the past, So meaning me personally, I've been studying, I think, since about 2015. So I'm only a 5-year-old, and I've only been on the streets for about 2 years teaching, because I did about 3 years of study before I called the brothers and said, hey, I want to go out on the street and teach. So I'm represented as a 5-year-old in this truth. So that's what this means when we read that, and it says, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me. See, we are the little ones, all right? We are likened unto a child, all right, in this truth. Because, hey, we're like that term born again, I'm born again. It's been about 5 years, the most eldest brother, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years. I couldn't speak for the other brothers, but that would be my guess. So that's what that parable of the little one is dealing with. All right. So and this, remember, I'm dealing with that word offend. So you're better off, you don't want to offend the men of God who are teaching this truth, because he he has a great love and admiration for the men who push his word. And it's a serious offense to the Lord when you're trying to disrupt that, you know? Like when you see these scoffers come to the camp and they're trying to, you know, interrupt the camp, or they're trying to talk shit or whatever, you know? Let's go down to, let's just read 7 through 8. Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to the man by whom the offense cometh. So you know you're in hot water, man, when you offend the truth, the men who are delivering this truth out on the streets. You'd be better off just to keep walking by than to stop and mock the truth, or stop and be an asshole at the camp. You know, you've had many men and women, and you know that their day's going to come, you know, at the hands of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem. All right? Verse 8. Wherefore, if the hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. So again, dealing with the body. Hey, if your brother's going off and he don't want to listen, and he don't want to hearken or correct himself, then hey, you better off cutting that brother off, man. You know, that's that member of the body. And you know, like when they cut off an arm or a leg, they call it dismemberment. Well, that's the same thing. You know, it's that parable for the body, which are the men of the truth. Let's go to Mark for the next precept. 9, go to 45. And it says, and if thy foot offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter halt into life than to having 2 feet to be cast into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched. All right. So you know, when the wrath comes, hey, there's going to be camps, even probably of GMS, that if men are going off or men aren't doing the right thing, or you know, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, according to the standards of the elders. There may be whole camps that get a taste of the nuclear fire. You know, you're better off cutting off that. You're better off dismembering that body part, or that man. You know. So that's what that's dealing with. It's just reiterating, you know, the last couple verses I went into. Let's go back to Psalm, and we're going to go to 41 and verse 7. And it says, and all that hate me whisper together against me do they devise my hurt. All right, so this is just dealing with King David. Because the 2 words I didn't want to focus on is offend and hate. So, you know, the hate, this is King David talking, you know. All that hate me whisper together against me they do devise my hurt. So eventually this devil, Esau, Edom, they're going to try and kill us, you know, for pushing this truth, for exposing the white man, the so-called white man, the Edomite, you know. This is, the elite they know about GMS. They've been watching the videos. You have a lot of scoffers watching videos, and they're, you know, that's what Esau does. He searches things out. You know, he's going to learn about the Hebrew Israelites, and then he's going to demonize us, you know, and then, you know, they devise hurt to us, you know, eventually. And that the way things are picking up with the coronavirus and all these plagues that are coming to America, you know, this stuff is nearer than we think, as the scriptures, as it is written, you know. I'm going to stay in Psalms 139 and go to 22. And it says, I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. Well, let's jump up to verse 21. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. All right, but Christianity is not going to tell you that it's okay to hate. You should hate the people that are against this truth. It's a perfect righteous hatred. All right, Christianity never taught you to hate. But we of the men of this truth, we are teaching you to hate. You should hate the men that oppose this truth. You should hate the women that oppose this truth. It shouldn't sit well with you, But this is the truth we're giving you now, You've been taught to love, 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 love in the Christianity, But there's a balance with Yahweh, all right? There's love and hate, all right? You can't love everybody and you can't hate everybody. But you should hate your enemies. And you should hate, the so-called white man, the Edomite. Because eventually he's going to try to kill you, Watch this microchip come out this year. Watch, the missiles. All these plagues are going to be hitting Babylon. They're already hitting Babylon. That's just to prove that. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So that's the balance, love and hate. If you love, 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 love everybody, you're going to be overtaken. You can't do that. And if you hate everybody, well, you're going to be destroyed also. You got to have balance. Because otherwise it's an abomination to the Lord. We just read it right here at the top of the screen. All right. So let's go to Ecclesiastes 3:8. And this is King Solomon wrote this. Verse 8. There's a time to love, a time to hate, and a time of war and a time of peace. So there you have it again. A time to hate. All right? Christianity doesn't tell you there's a time to hate. They lie to you. They tell you love, love, love everybody. Everybody's going to the kingdom. And they lie to you. They say they love you. They don't love you, man. Deep down, they're crafty counsel they plot. They're plotting hate on you. But the Bible says King Solomon, who the Bible called the wisest man that walked the face of the earth, he tells you right here in verse 8, it's a time to love and a time to hate, showing balance, like we just read in Proverbs. All right. When's the last time Christianity told you to hate somebody? But I'm here today telling you that it's okay to hate somebody. All right, you're supposed to hate your enemy. You're supposed to hate this devil that oppresses your people, who destroys their minds by giving them the white Jesus, by giving them, pharmaceuticals that kill them. The word pharmaceutical means witchcraft in Greek, pharmakia. And who set that up? Who set the pharmaceuticals up? It's the so-called white man. He's killing your people with that thing. I'm telling you, it's okay to hate that so-called white man. It's okay to hate that devil. The Bible says it, all right? Matter of fact, if you don't hate him, then you're contrary to the Lord, all right? When Yahushua said, love thy enemy, he was talking about the enemy of your people. And I've went in on that in a different lesson, so that's a whole nother lesson, but I'm just telling you right now, it's okay to hate this devil, all right? And you are in the right mindset if you do hate him. And right now, things are starting to pick up with these prophecies. You're going to have a time where all you non-believers, You may not believe the truth that we're bringing out, but when that so-called white man comes down with great wrath upon you, you're going to know who your enemy is. You know, just like our people knew who the enemy was when he was destroying the so-called Negroes in slavery, and he destroyed the so-called Native Americans and Latinos. They were actually enslaved prior to the Negroes, you know. But right now you have been softened up by Christianity, and you have a fucked up mindset, and you think you just all want to love him. And you think it's sinful to have hate toward the Edomite. You're in the wrong mindset, and you're going to be destroyed by Yahweh for that. And you're going to take the microchip because you don't view the so-called white man as a devil that he is. All right, let me go to Matthew 5:44. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. 43. Ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. All right, so this is the enemy of your own brethren. Okay, that's what this is dealing with. Okay. But that's that hate, all right? Yahushua, he did preach the love of your brethren, all right? Make amends with your brethren. But you know what? Your brethren is going to hate you for pushing this truth out. And when you start to teach this truth, you're going to see the hate that comes out of your brethren, you know, meaning your own people. Luke 6:22. Excuse me. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice in that day, and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. All right? So the prophets, we know that, you know, we're back through the regeneration. But hey, you're blessed when they hate you. You know? You know, when people hate you for this truth, and when they despise you, then and they start to separate you, they don't invite you to their get-togethers, their family gatherings, because you offended them because of the truth. Well, guess what? You're blessed. You know, when they hate you, you're blessed, man. So ain't nothing wrong with, you know, even if it's your family members hating you. You're in good company, man. Yahweh Shai was hated by the majority of the Israelites. They hated him. They didn't believe he was the son of Yahweh, you know. They didn't have that faith. In like manner, you know, you guys who don't believe that we're the prophets, you lack that faith, you know. Let's go to that real quick. Actually, let me go. Let's see, 6. Yeah, let's go to verse 26. Well, let's read 25. Well, we'll just read it. 24. But woe unto you that are rich, for you have received your consolation. All right. So right now, if you're doing good and everything is peachy, and you know, we're talking about the Joel Osteens, the T.D. Jakes, the Joyce Meyer, all these false prophets. You know, you're rich right now, right? In the kingdom, right? Everybody, for you have received your consolation. That's what the Bible says. 25. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Right? And woe means destruction. Right? Verse 26. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. So let's read that with a better understanding for you. Destruction unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. So you see what I'm saying? Like all these false prophets, destruction is coming to them. But hey, the ones that are chastised and mocked and scoffed for preaching this truth, and the ones that are hated, those are the real. That's a sign of a real prophet, man. You go pull up our videos at camp and look at you make the determination. Do people hate us or do they love us? Are they speaking well of us or are they speaking bad about us? You bet your ass they're speaking bad about us. They're talking shit. They're flipping us off. They're throwing things at us. Sometimes brothers have been spit on. Brothers have been stabbed at camp. So that lets you know the mark of a true prophet. When we'll read it again. Woe, verse 26. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you. They're not speaking well of us, man. This shows you who the prophets are. Let me go into this real quick. John 17, and I think it's 9. Okay, yeah, we'll read it. These are the prophets. Yahushua is talking about the prophets. And it also shows you that Yahushua does not care for the world. He cares about his prophets that Yahweh gave him, who are the men of this truth. John 17 and 9, I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine. And this is Yahushua speaking because it's in the red letter. And all mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them. Yahushua is glorified in his prophets who are speaking this truth, not the world. All right. So if you're a part of the world, and you have the mindset of an Edomite, and you love the so-called white man, and then you're part of that world that he says the Yahushua said he doesn't pray for, in verse 9. Verse 11. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world. Yahushua is no more in the world, but guess who is in the world, man? It's his prophets. We're here, where we are uttering the voice. We're blowing the horn. We're blowing the trumpet in Babylon. All right? Let me read that. And 11. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee, Holy Father, keep through thine own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one as we are. All right? So there you go. The prophets are still in the world according to these scriptures. But if you don't have the faith to believe we're the prophets, then you're the same type of reprobate mindset that didn't believe Yahushua was the Son of Man when he was on the earth, when he walked in Rome. Okay? Let me see. Let's go back to John 15 and 18. It says, verse 15 and 18, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. All right? So, if the world, this is Yahushua talking once again in the red letter. If the world hates you, hey, this is encouraging, right? If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. So Yahushua is saying, hey, don't trip, man. If the world hates you, remember they hated me too before they hated you. And if the world, and really, because I was inspired earlier in the week because one of my cousins, he got offended at me, and he attacked the truth. He attacked my preaching, So this was kind of heavy on my mind last couple of days. That's why I was inspired to do this lesson. And it's really a unfortunate thing when someone, not for us but for them, when they attack you on because of this truth, that's one of the worst things that a person could do. And to boot, it's a family member. You know what I mean? So that shows you how much hate the world has, man. Because even though you're of their brethren, they have enough hate in them to attack you on behalf of this truth. But Yahweh Shai, he reassures you, as a prophet, hey, the world hates you. That's a good thing, man. And just know that it hated me first. And Yahweh Shai has chosen the prophets out of the world, all right? And therefore the world hates us, all right? And really it comes down to faith, I can't explain the faith that I have, it was just given to me, I never, like I told you before, we don't just wake up one day and say, oh, I want to be a prophet. No, it's something that Yahweh had ordained since we were in the belly of our mother's womb. Like, it's not something that we just, it's not like, oh, I'm going to go take a test and, I'm going to be a lawyer or a doctor or an attorney or whatever. You know what I mean? It's something that's ordained by Yahweh himself. And just to prove that, let's go to that real quick. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So that shows you there's no free will. Before we were chosen before we were even born. When you were in your mother's womb, the word sanctify means clean. That's why you get that word sanitize. Out of S-A-N is that prefix. Sanctified, meaning made pure. Yahweh made you pure in your mother's womb if you're a prophet for this truth. It says, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So it was not our choice. It was Yahweh. Another thing that Christianity teaches you lies about. They say you could choose God. No, he chooses you. Well, give me the verse that says that, you can choose God. No, I just gave you the verse that says Yahweh chooses you. And if you have this spirit to teach and to prophesy, and you have the faith, then hey, guess that was all God given. All right? It's not something that you just overnight, like these Christians teach, like, oh, I chose God and I changed my life. Well, when they do that, half the time, or not half the time, all the time, they're coming in the name of the false prophet, of the false Messiah. They're preaching according to lies and not to knowledge. Romans 10:2. Go read that one. All right, let me see where we at. We'll go to John. Actually, 1 John 3:13, and it says, marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. We know that we have passed from death unto life because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. So basically it says, hey, don't be astonished when the world hates you, man. See, and this is the comfort. Remember I read earlier that, when you're in this truth, you're not easily offended. Well, this is why right here, man. Verse 13, again, I'm going to read it. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. If you have foundation, if you have a strong foundation in this truth, then you're not going to be offended easily, because somebody tries to mock you or scoff you or attack you because you're teaching the word. It says, marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. So we, that don't make us, that don't shock us, Why? Because we are diligent. We, when the family member, attacked me because of the preaching that I do, it didn't offend me. I was justified in that, And that's what I told him. I said, hey, I must be doing something right, So I'm not offended. Even right now, if anything, I'm like, dang, I'm more worried about him. What the Lord's going to do to you for, attacking this truth in your ignorance, All right, I'm going to kind of jump around. Almost done. Mark 6, and let's start at 3 and read down to 13. Is not this is talking about Yahushua. Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, and the brother of James and Joseph, and of Judah and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. All right, so your family is going to be offended at you in this truth, man. Don't let that take you out the truth. Don't let that disturb you. Know that that's prophecy, man. And know that should make you rejoice, like we read earlier. When your family and these scoffers and mockers come against you for pushing this word, you need to rejoice, man. You're not, the spirit of this truth, you're not going to be butthurt or heartbroken or sad or depressed. No. That should lift your spirit. You should have your spirit lifted when your family members mock you for this truth, or when these other people who are not even in your family and they mock you for this truth. That should build your faith. Okay? Verse 4. But Yahushua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country and among his own kin and in his own house. And he could there do no mighty work, save that he laid his hands upon a few sick folk and healed them. And he marveled because of their unbelief, and he went round about the villages teaching. So, we're not going to get hurt. Yeah, maybe maybe we'll marvel. I did marvel at his lack of faith. Because, when you come in this truth, your first thought is like, oh, man, my family's going to love this truth that I bring to them. You think like that at first. Then when you start preaching it, it's like the opposite. It's like, damn, they're all offended. They think I'm this. Because they get offended. They think you're putting yourself above them, which is a fucking weak-ass spirit to be in, But, I'm not. We're humbling in this truth. It's a humble thing to become a prophet, You got to humble yourself, in many ways, and I can't explain every way to you right now, but if you're a man of the Lord, if you're one of the elect, then it goes without saying, man. This truth will humble you, and it's a humbling thing. But the world will look at it as, oh, he thinks he's the shit. He thinks he knows the truth. He thinks he knows the whole Bible. He thinks that he can tell me, he can judge me and this and that, because they don't know these words in the scriptures. But they don't know the words in the scriptures, but they don't understand and realize that they're actually fulfilling prophecy with the way they're acting towards you as a teacher or a prophet. And you brothers out there that are teaching this word, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm at number Mark 6 and 5. Oh, no, I read that. Oh yeah, let's focus on 5. He could do there no mighty work. All right. So when there's no faith and they lack faith in who you are, how are you gonna save somebody when they don't have faith, when they don't believe the words you're speaking, when they think you're crazy for telling them you're a prophet? There's no mighty work going to be done in that situation. That's all I want to focus on 5 and jump to 7. And he called unto him the 12, and began to send them forth by 2 and 2, and gave them power over unclean spirits. So that's an unclean spirit, man. My cousin showed an unclean spirit when he was mocking the truth, and commanded them that they should take nothing. And commanded them that they should take nothing for their journey, save a staff only, no scrip, no bread, no money in their purse. All right. When he sent out the apostles, he said, hey, you don't take no money. You don't need to take no food. You don't take nothing. Just take your staff and go out there and teach this word. Because why? Because Yahweh is going to take care of the prophets. No matter what situation we get put in, he's going to stand. He's going to be right there. All right. Verse 9. And you have to have that kind of faith if you're teaching this truth, and if you're truly an elect, you got to have that faith that Yahweh is going to be there for you and with you. All right. 9. Be shod with sandals, and not put on 2 coats. And he said unto them, in what place soever ye enter into a house, there abide till ye depart from that place. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear you, when ye depart thence, shake off the dust under your feet for a testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. And they went out and preached that men should repent. And they cast out many devils, and anointed with oil many that were sick, and healed them. So, when you go and teach this truth, if they receive you, then hey, they could be blessed. They could be saved in those chariots, those so-called UFOs. They may have a shot at salvation. But if they don't believe you, then ain't don't stress it. Shake the dust off your feet and move on. It says here that Sodom and Gomorrah, which was destroyed by, brimstone and sulfur, fire, that place is better off than these people that don't hear this truth, or don't hearken or believe the truth that we're bringing. Or when we tell them about the microchip or about these plagues that are hitting America, they don't believe it, they don't receive you, just move on. It ain't no thing but a chicken wing on a string, as they say in the world, It ain't no sweat off our back, just move on. Verse 13, I want to concentrate. And they cast out many devils, and anointed with oil many that were sick, and healed them. And this is dealing with, like, you're sick when you don't know the truth. Oil deals with wisdom. All right, so we're bringing out this truth, which is the true wisdom of the planet Earth. And we're healing the sick, because you're sick if you're a Christian, man, a modern Christian. But when we give you this oil, this wisdom, well, hey, now you have some healing. Now you have the truth. Now you have wisdom. Now you know not to take the microchip. Now you know that the chariots are not fucking aliens. They're angels. And, that's another lesson also. But this is wisdom. Let's jump to Luke. and 24. And he said, verily I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country. All right. So there you go, man. The prophets are not going to be accepted by their own countrymen. They're not going to be accepted by their own families. They're not going to be accepted by their own brothers, their own sisters. That's a sign of a prophet, man. We read it earlier. If they speak well of you, woe unto you. If they're speaking good words about you, woe, destruction. If they hate you, if they talk shit about you, rejoice. You know? I brought out how many verses to make this point. And again, if you believe this truth, then hey, you may have salvation. If you don't, well, hey, I'm just going to shake the dust off my feet and move on from you. Like the elders keep saying, you know, they say if a motherfucker can't get it, then just move the fuck on. You know, who cares? It's not our problem. Romans 9 and 13. Oops, went to the wrong one. Romans 9 and 13. Just going to deal with that balance. Again, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. All right, there's that balance again. Yahweh loves Jacob and his descendants, and he hates Esau and his descendants. Balance. But we know that 2/3 of Jake's are going to be wicked, and they won't leave Esau's doctrines, his philosophies, his mindset. All right, 2/3 of you Israelites are wicked. All right, but it's dealing with balance again. You know, I wanted to bring this one out too, just because sometimes, you know, our speech isn't the most soft speech. We're not going to talk to you like a Christian pastor, you know, all soft and kind words all the time. No, we're going to bring you the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts you, you know. Would you rather me tell you a lie that will comfort you, or would you rather me tell you the truth that, hey, you might get pissed off, but at the end of the day, you have respect, you know. That's how it works. 2 Corinthians 11 and 6. But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. All right? So basically, you know, this is what we do, man. We may be rude in speech, but not in knowledge. And there's nothing wrong with being rude in speech. Sometimes you got to be rude to get your point across, right? People don't listen, you know, or they don't believe, you know, or it's just phony, fake speech when you're always nice to somebody. But when you're rude, hey, sometimes people will, hey, they stop and like, oh, shit, this motherfucker's being a dick, and then I believe him now, you know? Sometimes you got to be rude to get your point across. Verse 7, have I committed an offense in abasing myself that ye might be exalted because I have preached to you the gospel of Yahweh freely? I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do you service. You know, because the truth, hey, when the 1/3 of Israel who is not wicked listens to this truth and they actually believe this truth, they're going to stop going to Christian church. You know, that's why it says, I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do you service. Right? Because you have a lot of people that are learning this truth, you know, because of the internet, and they're leaving their churches. They're not going and giving tithes and money to these churches. Because why? Because they know the truth. They know the truth does not dwell in these churches in America. So we're actually taking wages from these churches, you know, and we're abasing ourselves, meaning we're humbling ourselves. We're being brought low, and we're like I said, we've been hated. We're being mocked, scoffed. That's an example of abasing yourself, you know, so you can teach this gospel of Yahweh freely, like it says in 7. All right. Luke 9:58 and 6. We're going through 62. And Yahushua said unto him, foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. All right. So this is Yahushua based himself, you know. He didn't go and buy himself a mansion because he became famous, you know, maybe you could say infamous in these backwards thinking people, because the word infamous means you're famous for doing something bad. In their eyes, he was bad, right? He was evil. So they could have called him the infamous Yahushua. But we know that he's actually the glorious Yahushua, you know, us men in this truth. But it says here that he didn't even have anywhere to lay his head. Why? Because he abased himself, because he put the truth before everything else. His goals and his success was not attributed to the society of the Edomite, you know, because he lived among Edomites. He was in Rome. Romans were Edomites. That was who ruled Rome, were the Edomites, so-called white people. You know, and they're still ruling here in America, Babylon, which is an extension of Rome. But right here it tells you he didn't have nowhere to lay his head. All right. And 59. And he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. Yahushua said unto him, let the dead bury the dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of Yahweh. So showing you the importance, he told this man, hey, let these people, let the dead bury your dad's already dead. Let those people who are dead to the truth, let them go bury him. Come and preach this truth. Showing you how important this truth is. Yahushua told him, you know, this is more important than going to your father's funeral, you know, to preach this truth. Those people that are going to bury your dad are dead to the truth. You know, those are probably the same ones that hate the prophets, you know. Those are probably the same ones that are offended by the words of the prophets. Yahushua said, let the dead bury the dead. I remember when I was young and I read that verse and I was still a Christian, I didn't know what the fuck that meant. But now, waxing strong in this wisdom and this oil and this knowledge, now I have the understanding, you know. Verse 61, and another also said, Lord, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house. And Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God, of Yahweh. So, hey, that shows you the importance of preaching this truth, man. You don't want to bury your dad first. You don't want to go say bye to your people at your house. No, you just go preach. Get off your ass and keep your hand on the plow, right? Meaning this truth, you know, prioritizes above everything, man. You know, so that's what it is, man. If you're offended by the truth, then, you know, I should say, if people are offended by what you teach, you should rejoice. If everybody loves you, man, you might be a false prophet. Or not might be, you are a false prophet. All right? If people hate you, you know, you probably are an elect. Because, and I'm talking about hate you for the truth, hate you for teaching this word, or offended by you. All right? Those are the signs of a true prophet, of an elect, you know. But with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha Rakah Kodash, double honor.